Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moletrap here, coming at you with another StarCraft commentary. We got IPX Zerg on your screen right now. It's kind of hard to recognize him actually there. You see, this is from such an old school game. That was actually Ma Jae-yoon. That was in fact Mr. Savior on your screen right there. This is from the Spris MSL from 2004. And actually, I didn't even realize that Savior was kind of a player in 2004. He was already, because he didn't actually really come out and start winning a lot until 2006. So it's kind of interesting that here he is in 2004. Anyway, the usual scumbag Savior. I'm not going to go into too much detail again, but we've kind of had to learn to respect the play but not the player with looking at all these old Savior games from the old days and what have you. So just with all that in mind, he's going to be playing against Goodfriend, who is not a scumbag, and he's going to be the Terran player here on the bottom left-hand corner of your map. There they are with their faces stretched out, I guess, for some reason. And we get a little bit more of this cool little side-by-side first-person view of the two players. Yeah, so no, this is an interesting situation because we've got, Goodfriend, who is, I've talked about a lot before, but in case you haven't heard it, he was a very, very strong player of this era. I would say one of the top two or three, probably been the top 2 or 3 Terrans, in the world, definitely in esports, like in Korean esports, of this time period of like 2004 or 5. Maybe, I guess not 3. I don't think he was really performing at the top levels in 2003, but in 2004 and 5, he was one of the forces that you needed to contend with, very, very strong Terran player. Now, this is actually played, let me just double check here on the side. This was played in May of 2004. So, this is during one of the stronger periods of when Goodfriend was doing really, really well. So Savior, on the other hand, we all know he did extremely well in like 2006. His first MSL win was actually in 2005 though. So, this is kind of part of his ramp up here. And it wasn't even like the end of 2005. It was August of 2005. So, this is a year before that. But oftentimes, it's kind of a trend actually when you think about it. The players that end up being the superstars, it kind of takes them a year to break into things, right? Flash was like doing well, but he wasn't owning face yet. In like 2007, and then in 2008 he was blowing up, right? And Jaedong first played in 2000, first started doing tournament stuff in 2006, and then 2007 he blew up. Bisu as well. Actually, I'm not sure how long it took for Bisu to kind of come out of the woodwork, but anyway, so just an interesting thing to think about, that like this is a year before Savior really blows up and becomes the dominant Zerg of StarCraft for an entire year, basically. Maybe, I guess you could even say like a year and a half. Of course, he did end up losing the MSL finals to Bisu at the end of 2006, if I remember correctly, or early 2007. But losing the finals doesn't mean that you're bad. It just means that you finally lost one. But anyway, and actually, Savior he won the 2005 Uzu MSL, but then the Scion MSL. He did actually take silver in that one also. He lost to Choja in a ZVZ final. So anyway, enough talking about Savior. Let's go ahead and get into this game, which is on the map Detonation, which I'm not super familiar with. But it'll be interesting to see how this goes. The Goodfriend is, of course, kind of, we've kind of seen a lot of his games from this period, and I believe it's kind of later on that he starts evolving out of this 2 barracks play. But at this point, it's just kind of very, very standard to, just very standard to open with 2 barracks and go for this early push. He's going to get like 5 or 6 Marines. He's going to get a couple medics and a couple fire bats or something like that. And he's going to move out and do a little bit of a pressure onto the Zerg player. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with this map, but it is an interesting map in that like there's a like kind of a weird double ramp leading out of the expansion. We've caught like a couple glimpses of it here and there. There's a good shot right there. There's like 2 ramps leading out of your main base into the rest of the world, and then there's kind of a wide open natural expansion without a choke point. So very difficult for a Terran to expand on this map. I think even in a 2021 on this map, a Terran would probably do some sort of strong opener like this, because it'd be very, very difficult, I think, to hold that expansion, because the expansion itself is in this wide open area, and it'd be difficult to sim city well enough. What is that drone doing, by the way? Is that for a hidden third base or something like that? Not sure. So in any case, and we can see Goodfriend scouting around here. In the corners. This is only a 2-spawn map, so I think he was just actually looking for, I'm not sure what that SCV is doing, actually. Maybe looking for a hidden hatchery or something? I'm not sure what's going on there. And it does look like Savior has hidden his hatchery in a weird spot, so he's got like a macro hatch in a weird location, and so that's maybe why Goodfriend is looking around. He's like, where's this expansion base? So anyway, here's Goodfriend pushing out with that exact thing I was talking about. It looks like only one medic, but still, you know, the 2 barracks play. Yeah, it looks like Savior, by the way, he's kind of, you can see there the creep on the edge of his main base. So he's like hidden the base in a weird spot, so it's still kind of within his sphere of influence, but well, hidden the hatchery, I should say, and it's his 3rd hatchery. So, you know, it's not like he's just doesn't have a natural expansion. Oh, hold that thought, because he's made a bunch of Zerglings, and he's going in to try and surround this force. There is a firebat there. If the firebat can stand by the medic and do a lot of damage, it does do a significant amount of damage. But in the end, it is the Zerglings that triumph there. And, you know, Savior was kind of starting to build. He got 1 creep colony. He may have even morphed into a sunken colony, but he didn't need it. He just ended up just being able to overpower him with just Zerglings there. And it looks like, you know, Goodfriend was not expecting that. Maybe he wasn't, maybe because he didn't know about the 3rd hatchery, which was in a hidden spot. He didn't expect that much production capability. You know, with 2 hatcheries, Zerg only has a certain amount of larvae that they can make, but with 3, of course, they can make more stuff. So anyway, just an interesting thing to think about. I don't actually, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this whole scenario, but I suspect that there was something going on there where Savior, in fact, did get more units out more quickly than Goodfriend expected, because he had that 3rd hatchery, and that might be why he was able to do that. He's transitioned all the way into the lurker tech already. And he's going ahead and getting those lurkers up, while he's also getting a 3rd base. So it's a 4th hatchery, but it's a 3rd base. Now this is interesting. You can see there. That's another thing I wanted to note is that there's this mineral line that's kind of blocking. There we go. Oh, the medic, get to those firebat. Yes, firebat medic on the ramp. Absolute MVP of this sort of a situation. He kills a lot of Zerglings trying to get in there. A few are going to get in, but it's not enough to do significant damage before the bio attack forces can come in there and deal with that situation. So 3rd base comes online. Savior has the lurkers. So this is not good for Goodfriend at all. He's kind of been contained. So you can see that. So the minerals are making a blockade, and you kind of have to mine it out in order to get through to the rest of the map. And Goodfriend did that so that he could sort of put some pressure on, make an attack. Savior's now has just now mined out the minerals near his base. There is another way to get around. You don't have to mine out the minerals to get through there. It's just a longer route. It's a longer land route. So Savior thinking that he wants to have quick access to attack Goodfriend's side of the map and Goodfriend's location in general. I think this is a 240p VOD that I have, by the way. So, as usual, we get to enjoy lots of pixels smushed together in a haphazard way. Maybe lots of pixels isn't the right phrase, but anyway. So it looks like Savior now put some lurkers outside of that little mineral blockade. Goodfriend is kind of trying to hold that line to make sure that Savior can't push through. But like, how does Goodfriend get a 2nd base here? And that's what I was saying, starting to say before I got distracted, was that this is really bad for Goodfriend to be behind 3 bases to 1. The Zerg is going to have so much economy in this situation. It's funny, I say the Zerg, like, it's kind of like how, well, I was going to say, never mind. I won't get into politics. I'll lay off of that for now. But anyway, point being, Savior is at a massive economic advantage right now, and Goodfriend has to do something pretty soon to either kill one of Savior's bases or get a 2nd base of his own, probably. Otherwise, he's going to lose in the long run here. The Spires just popped as well. And it looks like Savior basically made 3 lurkers. He made 3 lurkers and an extra base and a bunch of drones, and Goodfriend has kind of been scared back into his base, getting his tech up to deal with this, while Savior has gotten more and more stuff. So there's the expansion going down. I don't know if he knows. We just saw him scan outside of his base. I don't know if he knows that Savior has switched into the Spire Tech yet. And 2 evolution chambers. Is he playing for a late game strategy as well to try and just get up? I mean, he's going to need the upgrades anyways, but I guess in 2021, if I was thinking this, I might think, oh, it's going to be like Ultralisk Rush or something like that. Try and get those that level 5 Carapace on the Ultralisks as quickly as possible. But, you know, it could just be that he's getting upgrades normally, so never mind. I didn't realize there was only 4 patches at that base. That's really kind of not very much. But the base is going to go down either way. And this is a hidden base, by the way, in the bottom right, which is obviously no longer hidden. But he spotted it. He's going to be able to take that out. He's going to be able to take it out. Actually, is Savior going to try and save this base here? The hatchery's down to half. It's down to a third. He's got to try and save it right now. Here comes a bunch of Zerglings. He's going to get the surround, and the Scourge are going to come in and get the dropship as well. The Firebet puts up a heroic fight against that many Zerglings and roasts a lot of them to death. But in the end, the hatchery is saved, and he actually was so confident in that save that he morphed drones at that base to go into the budding extractor there. And actually, he just got the Spire for the Scourge, actually. I thought, oh, well, maybe he just got 3 lurkers because he wanted to save up a lot of gas so he could do a late meta switch, which could have been devastating to Goodfriend, who has no turrets at all. But in fact, he was just getting some Scourge and he's now getting more lurkers as well. He was basically just not spending money on lurkers because he was getting more bases and more drones. So now Savior with 4 bases right now. And again, 2 of those bases are only 4 mineral patches, so it's only kind of like 3 bases, but that's 4 gases, though. 4 gases is a big deal. Goodfriend just now getting his 2nd base up, but he's going to need to do something to shut Savior down very, very quickly, or he is going to lose the game in the long run, because that is Savior's style, or at least it will be Savior's style in a year when he is a strong force to contend with, is just a macro fiend and just kind of abusing, getting tons of bases and getting away with it, basically. And I'm not even sure exactly how that works. I haven't actually studied a lot of Savior's games and how he does that, but a few of them, you can kind of tell that he just is able to get just a strong economy and somehow not get punished for it, basically. So Goodfriend has got to punish him for it now, or it's curtains. Goodfriend kind of mining out this middle location. It looks like he might be wanting to put more pressure on Savior and go for a 2-base push of some kind. We haven't seen his main in a while, so I'm not sure what his production facilities are like. But hopefully he's getting more of them. Single lurker just chilling out here. It's just going to get killed off. It's like the spotting lurker. The lurker that... Oh, no. Okay, Savior has so much stuff. Oh, this is going to be a huge POW for Zerg move right here. I think Savior is going to be able to collapse. Sorry. I just did that thing where you like breathe in and there was like a little bit of spit on my tongue or something like that, and it just inhaled a bit. So apologies for that. I'm just going to pause for a drink of water real quick. All right, I yet live. Apologies for coughing in your ears, though. Anyway, point being, Savior has a bunch of stuff. That is a lot of lurkers, and here is the attack I was waiting for. Lurkers and lings coming from both directions, the top and the side. Scourge coming in just for good effect to take out the Science Vessel. The scan goes off so you can get vision of those lurkers, but there's just so many of them. Hydra's coming in to do more damage from the back as well, and everything is going to die. Savior with a perfectly executed Zerg swarm is going to pounce on that army, which was posturing to try and put pressure on Savior. He was kind of far out into the middle of the map, possibly to maybe try and secure a 3rd base or something like that, but I think more than likely he just kind of wanted to start pushing towards Savior's base. put a little pressure on him so he could start doing more of those drops on the side bases or something like that. But he overextended a little bit and didn't have, we saw those bunkers at his natural, but he didn't have those bunkers to fall back to. And so Savior just absolutely trounces that army. Now, as we can see, Goodfriend is not out of it yet, though. He's macroed up another small army. Savior still has a lot of his army from before and has macroed up further armies. So Savior is definitely in command of this situation right now. And even getting a, what is it, a fifth base? He's getting a fifth base over on the left side of the map. So I mean, once the Zerg, if you let a Zerg get out of control, it's just bonkers, you know. Once they get 500 extra minerals, when you've let them mine from an extra base long enough, they get 500 extra minerals. They spend that money on a hatchery, an extractor, and a few drones, and now they've got another gas and extra minerals at the new base, which they can use to get more bases, and you know, it just snowballs out of hand, as you all know, of course. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now, is that Goodfriend can't really, and maybe I shouldn't say can't really, I should say isn't really dealing with that. I feel like, again, you know, maybe I'm just not a fanboy, but I feel like if this was Nada, we would see dropships landing at that top left base. We would see dropships landing at the bottom right base. We'd see dropships landing in the natural. We'd see armies wandering around the map trying to do some damage to those side bases, which are relatively undefended, and not letting Savior get away with this massive snowballing economy that he is getting away with right now. So Goodfriend, you know, and this is you know, in the games against I think it was Go Rush where he was really successful. It was the games that he played a little bit more aggressively and a little bit more out of well, I guess the whole series rather, was because he was, you know, playing different. He was playing different stuff. He wasn't playing standard as much, right? And here he's playing standard, which is probably perfectly good to beat most Zergs. But in any case, here he comes in, Savior with a bunch of lurkers again and Hydralisk, and Goodfriend this time has a lot of places to fall back to. He's just basically continuing falling back. But Savior has so many lurkers, he could just burn like 5 of them and then keep running with 10 of them and just leapfrog them forward. And this army is going to get slaughtered by Zerglings while on the run from lurkers and Hydras. And I don't think there's any coming back from this now. Savior just has too much stuff. You saw that he had like 2,000 Hydralisks. Hydralisks aren't even like what you build against bio, right? It's just, but he's got them anyway. And he's got a bunch of Zerglings, and he hasn't even lost most of these lurkers. The lurkers have been keeping alive. Goodfriend's kind of been, when we saw him on that retreat, kind of turning and firing, but mostly running and dying. And see, here we go. Here's another little drop over here, but it's gonna get shut down by some Hydro. It's too late. It's too late for this, I think. Ooh, is it gonna save the dropship? He's trying to run around circles. No, he doesn't. Only half the combatants inside get out alive, so that is unfortunate. That's the kind of thing that, you know, he would need to do some sort of crazy maneuver where he drops 5 bases at once with different dropships and starts taking out drones, slow down this economy in order to try and get back into this. And that was one small part of what he needed to do. It wasn't enough, but it could have been a start, and it just has not succeeded. So the hive is already up. The Defiler Mound is nearing completion. I don't know. I guess Savior can just chill. He doesn't have to do anything, but I don't know if he even needs hive tech to really finish this game off. We are seeing Goodfriend push out to try and secure a 3rd base. We saw him building the command center. Here comes the attack in with those lurkers again. Now, he might have pushed forward a little bit too far with those lurkers without any support. Only Hydralisks in the back with no Zerglings to tank any damage in the front, but there's just too many of them. There's just too many. There's too many. Like, he's just building a bunch of Hydralisks. Hydralisks against bio and tanks. And it's working because he has so much economy. He can just do whatever he wants. He could probably win with all queens right now at this point. He's just got so much money. Just going around spawn brutling all the Marines, and it would just be too much stuff. It would be too devastating. So here's Savior pushing into that natural expansion and shutting down any hopes of Goodfriend securing the middle of the map to try and take a 3rd, and is forced to GG. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Very, very strong showing by Savior, and you know, it's kind of interesting to look at that just from a historical standpoint. You know, he this is the player who would become dominant force in a year, showing kind of hints of what he would be capable of doing, you know. So it's interesting that he wasn't winning everything in 2004 yet, despite the fact that we do see that he's still got that same style. But maybe I kind of would want, I would love to talk to like a pro Zerg from the 2004 or 5 or something like that, and see what it is that that Savior was able to improve on in that year between this game and the games when he was actually winning MSLs, because he actually ended up losing the next game losing in a later stage of the tournament to Goodfriend as well, actually, in this very same one. So, and I'm not sure what position he got in this tournament, but he didn't even make it to the semifinals. I don't think so. This wasn't like he wasn't at that point yet, you know. Anyway, but an interesting game nonetheless, and like I said, it's just cool to see it just from the standpoint of like it being a hint of the style of Zerg play which Savior would dominate with, and which would become, you know, the macro based play that we would see other players make work as well in future years. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you very much for watching. GG.